In the last lecture, we have proved that a complete orthonormal set in a Hilbert space forms a basis for the space called an orthonormal basis. We also know that every finite dimensional inner product space is a Hilbert space. Today, we will find an orthonormal basis of a finite dimensional inner product space, and the method which we will use to find orthonormal basis is called Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization process. This is named after two mathematicians, Jorgen Pedersen-Gram and Erhard Schmidt. Now, the theorem is every finite dimensional inner product space has an orthonormal basis. Let us prove this theorem. Let X be an n-dimensional inner product space and let the set P consisting of vectors beta 1, beta 2 up to beta n be a basis of X. We construct an orthonormal set A consisting of vectors alpha 1, alpha 2 up to alpha n of n distinct vectors by means of a process called Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization process. The main idea behind this construction is that each alpha j varies from 1 to n, is a linear combination of beta 1, beta 2 up to beta j. That is, alpha 1 is a linear combination of beta 1. Alpha 2 is a linear combination of beta 1 and beta 2, and so on. Alpha n is a linear combination of beta 1, beta 2 up to beta n. As beta 1 is not equal to 0, being a member of a linearly independent set, we know that if a set containing a 0 vector, then that set is always linearly dependent. So beta 1 cannot be equal to 0. And since beta 1 is not equal to 0, norm of beta 1 is also non-zero. So we can define a vector alpha 1 is equal to beta 1 divided by norm of beta 1. Then norm of alpha 1 is clearly 1. Thus, we have constructed an orthonormal set singleton alpha 1. Now, let gamma 2 is equal to beta 2 minus inner product beta 2 alpha 1 into alpha 1. Then gamma 2 is orthogonal to alpha 1. Here, uh, here we can see beta 2 minus inner product of beta 2 alpha 1 into alpha 1. This vector is orthogonal to alpha 1, and so gamma 2 is orthogonal to alpha 1. And we also note that gamma 2 is not equal to 0, because if we take gamma 2 is equal to 0, that means beta 2 is equal to inner product of beta 2 alpha 1 into alpha 1. That is, beta 2 is a scalar multiple of alpha 1. And since alpha 1 is a linear combination of beta 1, so beta 2 is a scalar multiple of beta 1. And this is not possible because beta 1 and beta 2 are linearly independent. Now we write alpha 2 is equal to gamma 2 divided by norm of gamma 2. Then clearly norm of alpha 2 is equal to 1. And we see that inner product of alpha 1 and alpha 2 is equal to inner product of alpha 1 and gamma 2 divided by norm of gamma 2, and this is equal to 1 divided by norm of gamma 2, because norm of gamma 2 is a scalar, and into norm of inner product of alpha 1 gamma 2. And since gamma 2 is orthogonal to alpha 1, so this inner product is 0. And so we see that alpha 1 is orthogonal to alpha 2, and norm of alpha 2 is 1. And we also note that alpha 2 is not equal to alpha 1, because if we take alpha 2 is equal to alpha 1, then we have gamma 2 divided by norm of gamma 2, that means beta 2 minus inner product beta 2 and alpha 1 into alpha 1 divided by norm of gamma 2, and this is equal to alpha 1. Means we are writing alpha 2 is equal to alpha 1. Then we find that beta 2 is a scalar multiple of alpha 1, and this since alpha 1 is equal to beta 1 divided by norm of beta 1, so we find that beta 2 is a scalar multiple of beta 1, which is not possible. And so gamma alpha 2 and alpha 1 are two distinct vectors in X, and so we can say that we have an orthonormal set containing alpha 1 and alpha 2, two distinct vectors. And here we also note that alpha 1 is a linear combination of beta 1 and alpha 2 is a linear combination of beta 1 and beta 2. Now we continue the process of constructing orthonormal sets like this. Suppose we have constructed an orthonormal set consisting of alpha 1, alpha 2 up to alpha k. Means after k steps we get alpha 1, alpha 2 up to alpha k. And these are k distinct vectors such that alpha j, where is from 1 to k, is a linear combination of beta 1, beta 2, beta j. Now consider the vector gamma k is equal to gamma k plus 1 is equal to beta k plus 1 minus inner product beta k plus 1 alpha 1 into alpha 1 minus inner product beta k plus 1 and alpha 2 into alpha 2 and up to minus inner product beta k plus 1 alpha k into alpha k. Suppose this relation is 1. We know that gamma k plus 1 is orthogonal to each of the vectors alpha 1, alpha 2 up to alpha k. Also, gamma k plus 1 is not equal to 0, because if we put gamma k plus 1 is equal to 0, then beta k plus 1 is a linear combination of alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha k, and as alpha j is a linear combination of beta 1, beta 2 up to beta j, for each j is equal to 1 to up to k, so beta k plus 1 is a linear combination of beta 1, beta 2 up to beta k, which is not possible as beta 1, beta 2, beta k plus 1 are linearly independent. These vectors are linearly independent. So here what we note that gamma k plus 1 is orthogonal to alpha 1, alpha 2 up to alpha k, and gamma k plus 1 is a non-zero vector. So we can define a vector alpha k plus 1 is equal to gamma k plus 1 divided by norm of gamma k plus 1. And then norm of alpha k plus 1 is equal to 1, and alpha k plus 1 is orthogonal to each of the vector alpha 1, alpha 2 up to alpha k, as alpha k plus 1 is a scalar multiple of gamma k plus 1, and gamma k plus 1 we have seen that this is orthogonal to alpha 1 alpha 2 up to alpha k. So we find that alpha k plus 1 is orthogonal to alpha 1 alpha 2 up to alpha k. And we also note that alpha k plus 1 is not equal to alpha j for j is equal to 1 to up to k, because if alpha k plus 1 is equal to some alpha j, then from 1 and 2 it follows that beta k plus 1 is a linear combination of beta 1, beta 2 up to beta k, which is not possible as these vectors are linearly independent. Also, from 1 and 2, it is clear that alpha k plus 1 is a linear combination of beta 1, beta 2, beta k plus 1. Why? Because alpha k plus 1 is a linear combination of alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha k, and beta k plus 1. And since alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha k are linear combination of beta 1, beta 2, beta k, so alpha k plus 1 is a linear combination of beta 1, beta 2 up to beta k plus 1. So we have constructed an orthonormal set consisting of alpha 1, alpha 2 up to alpha k plus 1, containing k plus 1 distinct vectors, such that alpha j is a linear combination of beta 1, beta 2 up to beta j for each j is equal to 1, 2 up to k plus 1. We continue this process of adding one vector in each step, and thus continuing in this way, we shall ultimately obtain an orthonormal set A consisting of alpha 1, alpha 2 up to alpha n containing n distinct vectors. The set A is linearly independent as it is an orthonormal set. We know that every orthonormal set is linearly independent. Therefore, A is a basis of X as the number of vectors in A is equal to the dimension of X. Hence, there exists an orthonormal basis of X. Here we note that the set A is a complete orthonormal set, as the maximum number of vectors in an orthonormal set is X, in X can be n. More than n vectors cannot be linearly independent in X. And since orthonormal set is always linearly independent, so this set A is a complete orthonormal set. Now I am giving a home assignment. Find the orthonormal basis of R cube by Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization process, where given basis is the set containing three vectors, ordered tuples 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 0, 0. Thank you.